Interview. My name is Michael. I'm one of the Wikid co-founders, and today I'm joined by Jupiter Ripple from Starring Manga. Welcome.
Hello. How are
And thank
you?
you. Good, thank you. I appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thanks for everyone who joined in the chat, who's out there watching right now. We're here. We're going to talk all about Starring and find out more about what Jupiter is all about. So, for those who maybe aren't familiar with you, would you mind first introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what you do?
All right. Well, I'm Natalie, but I go by Jupiter Ripple for the manga. And I'm 27. I'm from Virginia, originally Pennsylvania. And I love to write.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. I'm a mom. I love being a mother. But other than that, that's pretty much what I do primarily. With family.
Very nice. And how did you first get into creating manga?
I had the idea in my head a year ago, and I really originally wanted to do like a light novel style, kind of like a fan
Mm,
fiction.
nice.
It started off as like a Pokemon fan fiction.
Oh,
It did, and
that's funny.
it did. And the first character I designed was Niko, actually. Um, and then I was like, you know what? I want to implement more of my favorite anime. So I was like, I wonder what I could make her like look like. And I was like, she would look so cool as a female Inuyasha. And that's where I got her idea from, throughout the process of the many forms of concept art I got. And when we finally got Aries, we decided on the design that we have now. So that was really exciting.
What kind of stuff changed from the original design to what it is now?
We her hair changed, like her hair color.
Hmm.
I really based her hair color off of Inuyasha's robe because
Really?
I loved that. Yeah, just that bright red.
Hmm.
And then we like implemented like pink and stuff too, so that was exciting when we got that final color for it. I really loved. So
That's awesome. Yeah. And so you said you mentioned Inuyasha as a big inspiration for you?
it's one of the many big inspirations. Pretty much just get pretty much it forms into this, just getting, like I said earlier today, just getting into that captivating writing mode where that's my main focus and inspiration now. So it's like,
Really?
but among story wise, yeah, Inuyasha was one of my biggest inspirations for sure. and
Uh,
fairy tale too.
yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned fairy tale because I kind of feel a little bit of Urza in your character.
Yeah, a lot
Uh,
of people have mentioned that. A lot of people have said
and I
that
think that's a
too.
good way too. Um, and
It
I think
is.
the
I love
reason and the reason I think I so the reason I particularly kind of was made that comparison is because when I think like strong female character in anime, like Erza is probably one of the top of the list for me, and I definitely get that
that.
vibe from your character.
Yeah, probably more appearance wise than personality.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, Urza is more of a powerful person, and when
Mm,
we step into the mind of Niko, she's just very
mm,
stubborn, to say the least.
really?
And we see that a lot in the first two story arcs. Just very brazen, very stubborn, but in a good way. And you see kind of why she's like that as a character as the story progresses. You see a lot of
Really?
change in her as the story goes on. Yeah. So she's one of my favorite characters. So
That's awesome. And
definitely my first one and one of my favorites.
that's awesome. And by the way, for anyone in the chat, if you guys have any questions for Natalie here, feel free to shoot them in the chat, and we'll get them addressed and answered. But that's awesome. So it's the series is, if again, for those who aren't necessarily familiar, it is a fantasy series. It has basically it revolves around these two characters who are fighting demons in the place called Earthscar. Particularly, what's the continent's name again?
I'm sorry.
I believe it takes place in a particular continent. Is that right?
Well,
Or
we
a
see
country?
more. Yeah, we see it more focused on the one region within the world. which the region has a history. Each individual location has a history. I pretty much started the world building kind of backwards than most people.
Really? In what way?
Yeah, because like I said, like it originally started off as just like this fan fiction, and I was writing scripts, and like there were things that I liked, and then I wanted to incorporate in some way. So I had to pretty much like start off with my main idea and my characters in mind. Like, what world can I put these characters that I created into?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just manifested into, kind of getting inspiration from my surroundings, just seeing different things throughout my life, mountains, pretty much all of that. And when I created Might Hollow, just the region, that's what I based it off of, pretty much like a very mountainy terrain, uh, you know, crazy flowers that really wouldn't grow in the wild, but they, you know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
that. So it
Oh,
just
that's cool.
kind of manifested into this whole universe now, and where the universe came from. Like, I always ask myself questions as I write. So it's like, okay, well, where did this come from? And where does that go from there? So
No, that's awesome, and I think you've got a really interesting, unique world on your hands. I've gotten the chance to read some of the backstory stuff, and there's definitely a lot to it, I think.
yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And it all just, like I said, just putting in that time and that consumption into it. I just got lost into that captivating, like I constantly say, just that writing mode. It's just one ever.
Oh, that's funny. Now in the chat, someone has a question for you. A couple questions actually. First, JT Loves Code Lyoko says, "When are we getting more chapters?" Is that something you can address at this time?
Yeah, at the end of this month. So we originally started off, but before we signed with Wikid here, originally started off kind of promoting just the webtoon and the manga rock when we started with Airy. And then kind of after that, we just put the prologue up just to kind of see, what would happen. And we got a great response. So we continued, posting it on the webtoon and stuff. So we're going to put up the rest of the sneak peek at this month. And then, like we said earlier, we're hoping to be printed come February. This episode is its own story arc. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that actually addresses the next question, which is, are you planning to have physical copies available?
Yeah.
And yeah, totally. And now that we've kind of partnered together, we're going to be able to help provide those physical copies. And we work with a great printer who has a really high quality operation, independent operation, and we're really going to go the extra mile to give it that authentic manga feel, from the manga paper to left to rather right to left reading. So we're definitely excited about that.
One thing to keep in mind is the entire chapter will not be on Manga Rock or Webtoon in order to, kind of finish out that story arc, The Envious Warrior. You would need to actually have a physical copy. What we're posting to the Manga Rock and the Webtoon is just a kind of a sneak peek pretty much to like the last 2 or 3 pages. This is so we can kind of get the stuff on the physical print going, because I'm real excited for that, especially with that manga paper we were talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna special order it and everything, kind of just give it that extra feel.
Yeah.
So while it is a transition, it might not be on the usual platform. We feel that the things that we can provide is the physical copy and helping them, bringing it forward. I think, I think that's something that we can help with the series. So it's definitely a good thing. Don't look at it as necessarily a bad thing just because things are changing.
Oh no, it's not a bad thing at all. This is more of a route we wanted to take, so we're happy about that.
And good. I'm glad to hear it. We've been working with a lot of great creators and developing a lot of great techniques. So I just think it was a great partnership. I think we both agreed. Yeah.
Especially you guys started on manga, so that's exciting too.
Right, exactly. We started with our own manga. I'm the writer on the series, and my business partner Matt, he's the artist on it. And yeah, so it's totally, bringing in more manga like yours is something that we've been wanting to do for a while, to keep expanding our manga selection.
Yeah.
So having yours be the first true authentic, I think probably the most authentic manga is pretty exciting.
Yeah, exactly, and it really has that. It really has that traditional shonen feel.
Yeah, it
And
really does. Yeah.
it does, and I love that. And like I told you earlier, I've kind of been watching the opposite these days, just to keep myself in the good shonen vibe, as I like to call it.
Oh, that's funny.
And it starts off with like protagonists off to save the world and stuff, but the characters in starring, they have a meaning and a deeper like reasoning as to why they want to save their world, and like their history, like I told you earlier, is solely built around getting to save their world. Like their history is built around just that fact that they need to do those things. So
well, I think that's cool. Something that I always look for in a story is that there be something a little deeper than what's on the surface.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's exciting to hear.
Mm-hmm. And the just getting in depth and giving pretty much every person in the world a history is one of my favorite things to do, is building characters. Like
Nice.
I love doing that, and getting into that fine tooth comb areas that not everyone may not think of, but when they hear it, they're like, oh wow, that's just so cool that she has just this deep history, and is there in the world, and she's a fictional character being a human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
I was going to say, it also rewards your readers because it gives them that depth of character that like if they're reading for a while, they're gonna get a payoff with those characters. It's not just some surface level stuff here.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really good to have those facts about characters.
Mm-hmm. Chaotic Helevan says, "Keep up the grind, girl. Love the series."
Thank you. Thank you.
Same. Oh wow, Whitney Rock says same. Um, but I wanted to also point out there was another question in the chat a little earlier. Where
Okay.
did it go? Miguel says, "How long have you been working on this project?"
I've been working on the project for a year, and like 2 months now. And like I said, it originally just started off as like a fan fiction, and then I met my original illustrator, Alyssa Yamaguchi, and her and I started kind of just getting a feel of the artwork. Neither one of us really kind of knew at the time. We were new to what we were doing, so it took some time for us to get adjusted in that, and then life priorities got in the way, and we went our separate ways. And that's when I met Ari, and she really kind of helped me get organized and start the project off right. And in a short amount of time from production to now, we hit a lot of milestones too. So in a year and a month, I've been working on this project, and I've been satisfied with how it's been going. So
That's awesome. And how did you first come to meet and start working with your artist, your second artist that's now the main artist here?
well, I work with Ari and Nari, and they're from the
Oh,
Philippines.
nice.
Yeah, and we met on a freelance website. And I was in a rush, I was ready to get the manga to revamp because we had two different art styles at the time. So I had to kind of get on it pretty fast, and I got lucky. I was lucky to find Ari. I mean, she really, like I said, she makes starring what it is now. I couldn't do it without her, so that makes me happy.
Well, that's cool. It's always good to work with an artist that you really enjoy working with and kind of elevates your own work.
It is. It really is. And it's just been, since starting this project, I have just met some awesome people. I've met and worked with aspiring voice actors and aspiring writers. I've met some of my dearest friends by working on this project. A friend I met through the project actually helped me co-write for a while, and him and I had a blast.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
we did. So he actually like helped me out, and it was just been an awesome experience working with so many talented people. So.
No, that's really cool. Yeah. Now we have another question. So many questions tonight in the chat. I love to see this lively conversation going on here. Miguel asks, "What was your inspiration for this manga?" And I think this is a great question because I think again going back to looking for a deeper meaning, I think finding inspiration is a big part of that for me at least. So I'm curious what kind of inspirations you had other than obviously you mentioned Inuyasha earlier.
Well, more like sorry about that. Like more for, I guess, if you mean like personal inspiration, or just kind of what series kind of, because I mean, I think every anime lover out in the world is like, I would love to create an anime one day.
Oh yeah, I'm exactly. I'm sure we've all been there.
So it's like, I mean, yeah, that's my inspiration, just being an anime lover for most of my life. But one of my
Nice.
biggest personal inspirations is because I just was something since I was in like 6th grade, just always had a huge imagination. Like I've just been able to pretty much take a person and put them anywhere and create a story about it. And just kind of suffering with mental health, a lot of my life with anxiety and things like that, I used it as an outlet since about 6th grade. So it's been probably one of my biggest inspirations, is just kind of an outlet and getting, again, lost in that writing mode that I love. So
Well, that's really cool. Yeah, and I'm super excited to obviously that you're joining with us. I think
yeah,
I thought it was a great fit for
really
Wicked. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I
fine.
was just gonna say I when I first read it, I just felt it was a great fit at Wicked. The not only the aesthetic but your story as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't wait to see the next episode come out.
Yeah, and right now it is Willow Week, and that's
Really?
another protagonist.
Right.
Willow Week on our Instagram. So I'm actually going to be working with another artist. Her name's Amanda. I see her here in the chat. Hi, Amanda. We're going to be doing a small little Willow commission project, which I'm excited to be doing. And Willow's another one of my favorite characters too that I love, and I'm excited to see her and her style too. So we're doing like small things here and there at the moment. I'm hoping possibly before the campaign or after the campaign, getting a small project together with some friends of mine, with some video editing and all of that. I'm hoping that I could get that done soon.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that, but we're doing it.
Well, that's awesome. Real life Kirito says, Nat has created something I hadn't seen in manga for a long time and might even generate a new generation of writers. That's no lie. What do you have to say to such high praise?
Kevin, Real Life Nico is actually one of the friends who helped me code
Well,
write a few
that's
chapters.
awesome. Well, obviously
Yeah,
you left an impression on the creator in the project. So I mean, clearly you have something special here. I think people are connecting with.
yeah, and we got great feedback on some of the platforms that we have put it on, and we really did, especially at our, we gotten compliments at how compelling some of the characters me and Ari have created, and with her implements and my writing, I feel like we did create something pretty much anyone can relate to, and in all kinds of ways, just to have a good story to kind of have, and at the same time, um, a character you can get on board with and root for too.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like the characters are really cool. I even from the first page, you kind of fall in love with the characters. Kind of want to see what their story is all about. They have their personality. You can tell like it shines through even during the action scenes, which I think is really important.
Yeah. And
Something.
I'm
Sorry, go
sorry.
ahead. No, no,
No, go
please.
but I was gonna say we do, some of the characters, they all have a purpose, like I've mentioned, and they all have a meaning, and their story is crafted around the world and the world that they live in, and it's just like we have villains and antagonists, but it's like in my story and vision, the antagonists and villains hold great differences in terms of definition. It's like in villains in any world, they want to destroy it physically, but it feels like antagonists make it personal. It's like they want to crush the protagonist's spirit with mental corruption. And you see a lot of that in our antagonists side, because we have both villains and antagonists. I see the demons in the story more as villains because their sole purpose is just to destroy.
So something we've seen different types of demons so far in the first episode, I believe, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about how without spoiling anything, is there anything you could tell us about how these demons operate, or is there some sort of hierarchy? Because I believe in the very beginning we see some they seem somewhat mindless, maybe. But I'm getting the idea. I'm getting the sense from you possibly that there could be more varying levels of power, intelligence, etc. Is there any validity to that, or what do you think?
There's so what I could say is that we do have kind of like a power system for the demons. They're like what I would like to call pretty much any being in the manga with a power comes in a low class, mid class, high class, and then the villains have like their own class. So it's like the demons that you see on the first couple pages, they're more of a mindless, kind of have an animal mentality, hunt and to eat and to sleep mentality. Whereas some demons you see, they actually have an intelligence and they have an importance to the story. And something that made me think of that was very much that there is always something stronger than you that you can't defeat. So it's like it wouldn't make sense if they all could talk and they all could have all this power. So some had to be mindless, some do
you mind if we show off some art here?
No, yeah, sure, go for it.
So I'm pulling up what it looks like, maybe one of these possibly lesser demons that you mentioned. One moment here.
I think I even sent you guys over the original concept.
I think that's what I'm pulling up, possibly.
There we have the.
Let's see. Yeah, the old concept.
Yeah, the original concept.
So who did this one? Is this your original artist then?
Yeah, that was Alyssa Yamaguchi.
Nice.
Her and I came up with that concept about almost a year ago now. That was. And those demons that you're gonna show, I can. Oh, they're there.
Hello, demon.
Yeah.
So that's the original concept of what we see on the first couple pages.
Yeah, that's
the
original.
Oh wow, it's I could see kind of where the inspiration for it came from, honestly.
Oh really?
Yeah, I can see the roots. I can still see the roots of this in the final version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I did really like this design a lot. And I really just loved like kind of like the way that it looks like a guy, but it's when you get up to the ears, it's like, oh no. But they're actually called the three-eyed demons of Inuyama. And that's basically all they are, is they're just kind of like mindless trolls that kind of prey on humans. And that's pretty much it. That's like their purpose.
And you said it was the Inuyama. What was the title again? The what you call them?
The three-eyed demons of Inuyama.
Three-eyed demons. So clearly, you have some Japanese Japanese title there, and so you're really, I think, we've talked about it, you really are emphasizing a lot of the aesthetical elements that are present in Japanese manga. Yeah. And one of those is you use Japanese sound effects. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we do. We don't use onomatopoeias in Japanese. Oh, sorry, that's my dryer. We don't use any of the onomatopoeias in Japanese, but we do use the powers of the protagonists, their magical powers in Japanese. So that's pretty much it. And some of the locations as well are in Japanese, like Inuyama, Harai, and Yui. Yui was another location that was
Interesting.
in Japanese as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's a nice touch. Honestly, it's most would think, oh, let's translate it, but a lot of times when you see manga translated in English, they'll leave the Japanese sound effects as is, just because they feel it's almost part of the art as itself.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if they're. I kind of leave that up to Ari.
So is
They
that mostly her decision?
Yeah, where the onomatopoeias go, I leave it up to her.
Ah,
But it was actually her idea. I actually had different names for some of the powers
oh, interesting.
originally.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, it would just be really cool if we because originally the comic didn't read traditional Japanese style. It actually read just normally how we would read, and all of that. So she
Okay. So actually, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I think I was actually mistaken. So you're saying that's not the that when you said the onomatopoeias, you mean the sound effects themselves aren't what's in Japanese, but it's some of the powers and stuff that they use.
Yeah, yeah,
I
the
see.
powers.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind of like how like a lot of the shonen, kind of going back to the shonen thing. A lot of the shonen, a very big element of shonen is like the named abilities. That's very common, almost every shonen show. You know.
Yeah, they
So it's
say
like
they say the power before they
right,
do it.
right, exactly. And so I feel like you leaving in the Japanese, I think, does give it a kind of a really interesting feel and very authentic and just kind of cool. It's just something different I've never seen.
And something that we do is Ari and Nari, they are real big. They know they could translate Japanese. They could write, send it to me in English. So we really have even some of the kanji symbols for some of the things. What I could say is that we just recently did a character development, for a character later on in the series, and we actually are going to use her weapon in kanji, which is really cool. I'm excited for that.
Nice. Speaking of characters here, we have another image we can share here, which is of some of the antagonists in your story.
Hmm. Yeah,
These look like possibly some scary cultists. What can you tell us
yeah.
about these guys?
Not too much. I don't.
Got to keep it under wraps, right? What
I
we do
don't. I don't.
see in the first page, if you haven't read it yet, is we see a very
Mhm,
mysterious something going on, possibly a ceremony, but it's not
mhm.
very clear. It's left very vague on purpose, I think. And then the story picks up a number of years later. And so it
Yes.
almost lays this foundation of a mystery going forward, it seems like.
Yeah. There is a little bit of a mystery with that.
Very
Kind
nice.
of on purpose. We put them in the front, and there's a reason. We want you guys to see that. We want you guys to kind of wonder about this for a while. So.
Speaking of for a while, then we did have a question earlier, which was
Uh-huh.
at this point, Alicia asked, at this point, do you know how long this manga series will be?
Um, I often have asked myself that question, and the best answer I have told everyone is pretty much however long it takes me to tell it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very, like I've mentioned before, it's a very much in-depth story, with a lot of history, a lot of ground to cover, and I really want to tell it in the best way possible. So honestly, I couldn't give you a range. Pretty much,
It's still ongoing at this point.
it's
You
ongoing.
know,
We're just
too
gonna
too early to tell.
It's too early to tell. Too early to tell.
Fair enough. Yeah. Um, now, you mentioned the first episode is going to be finishing soon on Manga Rock and Webtoon. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
have you announced yet have you, announced what your plans are for the next issue yet, or are you keeping it close to the vest? How are you playing the next episode out?
Our next action is going to be focusing on campaign.
Hmm.
After this episode, we really kind of wanna, because the way that Starring's kind of set up is that each individual chapter tells a story of its own in a big chapter as well. So it's like we're probably I couldn't really give an estimate amount of time on when the next episode will be out. For digital or for print, because we're doing different things, and the change is great, so we're excited for that. But I couldn't really give an estimate amount of time. Really want to focus on campaign.
And when you say
all.
campaign, do you mean like a crowdfunding campaign?
Yes.
So your plans are then to crowdfund the next episode then?
Yeah. That would be our next plan of action. Yeah.
Nice. And have you thought yet on which platform you might go towards?
We're gonna be doing Indiegogo. Scott
Nice.
actually gave me out a lot of understanding it as well. So
Oh,
I
that's
have
awesome.
that's kind of what's in the next plan before illustration. So.
And we've all obviously talked recently since we signed on, and we're going to be putting out a print edition of the first episode,
Yes.
kind of in preparation for the Indiegogo campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And so, picking that up will not only help support her, but it'll help with the next campaign and getting more episodes out. So
Exactly.
a lot of those profits go right back to Natalie here as a creator. So it's a great way to help support her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To see more episodes get made, which I think clearly a lot of people are interested in seeing more of these get made.
And we're really looking, for the campaign. We have a lot of cool stuff that we're gonna be doing. That I have some ideas. Probably some Ari. She does a lot of crafting, so we might have like real crafty items to choose from. T-shirts. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. That I could think of. Definitely prints, though. There's definitely going to be some prints, which I'm excited for that because they're always so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think one of my favorite parts about Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns is all the extra stuff too. Like it's not just a book; you're getting all these goodies and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And if
It's
you
the
want to check it
start.
out, sorry, I was going to say, please go check out the webtoon here. You can check out what's out for the first episode and give it a preview if you'd like. And that's finishing up when again?
The first episode, the sneak peek, will be out on Webtoon at the end, closer towards the end of this month. The set date is most likely after Thanksgiving. So yeah, Scott said she's working on my new favorite character. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're currently working on the starring waifu.
Is she best girl? Is she gonna be the best girl in the
She's
series?
gonna be best girl.
Very
Yeah.
good, very good. You gotta have it.
But I'm sure we're gonna have people who are gonna be fighting over who best girl is, and you
Well,
know
I'm
what? That's
sure you already got two strong,
fun.
candidates as your main characters. So now, when is this character going to be introduced in the series?
This character will be introduced kind of in the middle of the Arcadia arc. So I want to say maybe about 2 to 3 episodes from now, we'll have
Nice.
she'll be seen in manga panels. Come towards then. So we have a bit of a ways yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah. But we do have in the preview coming up on the webtoon, we're gonna have one of my other favorite characters introduced coming up very soon. So I'm real excited to finally see him, on a manga page. That would be the first time ever. And he's one of my I put a lot of work into him as a character, so I'm real excited.
Really? Oh wow. Yeah. Nice. So it sounds like you got a lot of new characters on the way.
Yeah, tons of new ones.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's something so cool about your world is it seems to like so expansive. Like there's so much to explore here.
Yes, there is. There's in Might Hollow, there's 3 kingdoms. There's Gotemba, Zukaya, and Inuyama, and Yui. Sorry, there's 4. And inside all of them little kingdoms lays this other little villages, and every single little place just has like its own little story to tell, its own history, different beliefs, different people. Again, it's just kind of just so much watching fictional characters be people in a fictional world.
Now I'm pulling up another piece out here. This one looks to be Niko again.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a great shot. What is what's here? Is this a panel?
Yeah, this is a panel.
Nice.
On the webtoon right now.
It's incredible the richness of the art. It's very high quality. And there's just a lot to it. Like you can zoom in on it, and it still looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's what I like to call the manga shine.
It really does have that kind of a shine, doesn't it?
It does.
I like it. You know, it's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, real quick, I just want to say, it's very clear. Ari knows what she's doing. The art is very deft. It's a deft hand, laid these out.
Yeah, and she started on fan fiction.
Really?
She does. She started on. I'm sorry, not fan fiction. Fan art. She started on some fan art, and it transitioned into a beautiful talent. And she really just sets the story and plot are good, and then you get the illustrations in, and it really just makes it come to life. Like I remember when she first sent me the first page, because this is a passion project for me, so I cried when I see the first page. I really did. I cried.
No, I don't blame you. It's an incredible feeling.
Both times I seen the first page, I cried.
Really? Oh my god, that's funny. Oh wow. And what is it like, for you now working on the series? How has it been from when you started to now? What has changed and what have you learned?
I've learned so much in the year, and I could tell you through 6 rewrites of the first story arc. That I mean, it really just was so, like, I kind of, when I first started, just wrote the script. Like I was like, oh, I just need to just kind of get this out of my system, and I just started writing up scenarios and the characters talking back and forth, and it just wasn't satisfying enough to me. So then I started rewriting it again, and then I co-wrote with a friend, Kevin, and then him and I, we had a blast doing that. That was the best. It was one of the best times ever.
And so, sorry.
And then I went through a final editing process, and then, like I said, it just turned it. I ended up in that year just creating a world, characters, just everything to kind of fit them puzzle pieces together. So I really learned that outlining and having character studies and facts about your world written out in an organized way, and all of that is one of the best ways to keep track and have a good story, to have it just kind of all manifest into one thing.
Speaking of characters, it looks like this is one of the character sheets that you mentioned.
Yeah, that's one of the character sheets. Yeah,
very nice. So what does the rose symbol there mean?
That kind of, as a spoiler.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let's not spoil anything.
No, you're fine. It represents her magic, I could say. So it represents her magic, specifically.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So. How'd you go about putting so much attention to detail into your world and crafting such a rich setting as this?
A lot of research helped me finding things that have meaning, little touches that mean the most. Like we recently did a kind of like a little Easter egg in one of the panels. I like to call them Easter eggs. But we recently did just like a little Easter egg on one of the panels, and it was a flower, and it has like this really just this meaning, and it represents one of the characters, and you see it in the panel, and then it doesn't have meaning until like much later, but you're gonna remember it because it's just them small little fine-tooth details that matter in writing, because it just, everything needs to have a purpose. That's what I've learned.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, creating a world, everything around us has such a unique detail to it, so you kind of just look at your surroundings and go from there.
Wow, that's a pretty unique look at. Honestly, it's a pretty smart way to do it. You know, it's a world that's, even if it's fictional, it has to feel as real as the real world, even if not more so. And so it's like putting
Right.
those elements in. I think that's a really great way to do that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, like just, you know, if there's a spell, cast, like what happens? Like why does that happen? What happens to the world when that happens? Like these are the questions I said. Right.
I respect that a lot too, because it's fantasy is something that's I love so much, but I feel like I would struggle writing because of that. It's like there's so many things that you have to consider, and to make it really good, I think you do have to think about a lot of that stuff, which it looks like you are considering all that. So
Yeah,
that's really awesome to hear.
definitely. And it's
Uh,
a lot of studying too. I mean,
really.
yeah, like so like every week, pretty much every week in that I'm reviewing my own work, and I'm understanding this connection, and this part of the world that maybe should be seen in this scene. So like things like that are really important um
Mhm.
when you're outlining and stuff too. So
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I think a lot of people will be able to get a lot of a lot of reward out of that from reading your book because of that, for
yeah,
that reason alone.
so I really do.
Now, I wanted to bring this up because I thought this was a fun concept. There's two comments. Miguel actually had a couple comments about this. He says, "Is there any possibility of an official anime series of your manga? And if so, do you want to voice your characters, Japanese or English?"
Um, so,
Hmm.
I've been asked this question a lot, actually. If I would ever turn this into an anime, and if I ever would turn this into an anime, if the opportunity ever, arose, I would really want the manga to be halfway done.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm uh very much love anime, and would definitely, but I really want to. I originally started off with the idea of it being a manga, so I wanted to stay that way for a while, and then if it ever got to it, I would do it. And I do know who would voice Zane and Willow, and I promised two friends of mine that if it ever became an anime, because I met them through working on starring and stuff, that they would be.
Nice.
I already have a pretty good idea who they're aspiring voice actor wise,
That's cool.
but big voice actor wise, I don't know. I would just kind of let the professionals decide that.
Well, it sounds like if you had your druthers, you'd be able to cast a few people
Yeah.
as some characters. So maybe go with an indie production, right? Do a indie voice actors.
Yeah.
Uh, that'd be pretty cool, right? I can honestly see starring as one episode, even like a OVA. You could do an OVA for it or something. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's very perfect, perfect transition. I feel like, but I kind of get where you're coming from with it. Wanting to stay manga. A lot of times, the anime for adaptations of manga come out so soon after the manga's creation, and it just, I don't know, it loses something. It feels like.
Yeah,
Um,
like the manga loses its essence and its attention,
right. That.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
it is some people prefer to watch anime, and hey, that's fine. Enjoy the series how you want to. But this is a manga. This is a manga, and I really want to tell it like that for a while. But an anime in the future would be pretty awesome too.
Right. I mean, who's gonna say no to that, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
well, that's cool. I think you've got a really great project in your hands, and I'm excited for when you guys start crowdfunding, because I think that'll be a big step for you guys moving forward.
Yeah, I really do too. I'm really excited, especially to get some of the prints made for everybody, and who knows, we might hit
Nice.
convention once it's printed too. I mean, we just never know where the path takes us, but it always works out for some odd reason.
Yeah, I would love to get the books out to conventions and stuff. Get more
Yeah,
people, get more eyes on it.
for
Uh,
sure.
Now we have a really important question here. Amanda Pandelink says, "Any doggos in this series?"
Does she mean dogs, right? You mean
Yes, yes, doggos, dogs.
no, no dogs.
Oh no! Do they
But
exist in this world at all?
there is pet companions. Yes,
Okay.
there is pet companions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any cute stuff? Anything cute like a doggo, or is it mostly we're thinking more fierce stuff here?
There actually is a dog inspired companion.
Right.
Who when time comes, I'm real excited to see that. That's more like third story arc.
Oh wow, so
Third,
that's not for a while.
yeah, that's not there yet,
That's
but
on the
I'm
way.
pretty
Yeah.
excited. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's you seem like you've really come up with a lot of the ideas and stuff for the story moving forward as well. Not
Uh-huh.
just what's happening now.
I do. I pretty much have the series mostly completed.
Oh wow.
In terms of dialogue, scenes, scripts.
Jeez.
No,
That's
no, not
amazing.
yet, not yet. But I have it out. I do have
Hey,
it.
that's
Yeah.
so that I mean I think that alone, I mean even that's pretty amazing to me because a lot of times I fly by the seat of my pants when I'm writing a comic. You know, like I'm I'll think about it, but I don't necessarily have it outlined. And I've seen your outlines; they're quite good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I think they're really great. So I think it shows how much dedication you put in. That you don't like you said you don't want anything to be just out of nowhere or to be a loose ends. Everything is connected, and there's reasons for everything, and
Mhm.
you have it planned out to the end. So I do think that's really cool.
And one thing, back when it gets to involving, characters, it's like starring. I think I've maybe mentioned this during this time, but it's like it's just this one story inside a whole world, And the funny thing is like the events I'm presenting is actually in its own setting. So it's like a small setting on a a bigger, huger, a bigger timeline.
Hmm.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
so we're actually like seeing the story from a different point of view, a different set of eyes, through different characters, but there's actually like a whole timeline of events surrounding why this event that we're seeing is happening.
Right, and I think you kind of hint at that a little bit with the prologue, where we see these clearly important and big events happening, and then we cut to another time where like, okay, now we're picking up here, but you wonder what happened, and what could have happened not only then, but in between that time and then,
Exactly. Mhm.
and so that will be part of the mystery going forward, or what
Yeah,
you'll be revealing.
and that's that. Even that too is just that it all just has a backstory.
Oh
Honestly,
wow.
it's pretty much like I said, just like a time frame within a larger time period.
Would you
Like,
say something like maybe like how are you familiar with the Wheel of Time series by any chance?
no, I'm not, unfortunately.
It's a fantasy series. It kind of deals with the idea of like cyclic time and time repeating itself and
Mhm.
being cycles and stuff almost.
Okay.
But yeah, it kind of reminds me of something like that, almost the way you describe it.
And it's like, depending on the arc, and starring, the story angle shifts into the eyes of another character.
Hmm.
I just feel like the way I write scenes, when I do that, it gives the reader more of a character, getting into characters again, but it's so true. I feel like when we're seeing it through the four protagonists' eyes, we understand them better, and there's another character that they could relate to. Like, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like there is a character for everyone to relate in this story, whether it
Oh.
be personally, whether it be they're just badass or something like that. Like, there is just, um, just they're so compelling to me. And I don't know if it's just because, you know, I try to give them sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? They have positives and negatives about them, that even negative things you could relate to, even the positives about them as well. So
So do the characters you said you as you said you always keep coming back to the characters. Is the
Mhm.
character something that's really really important to you, something that kind of leads the story going forward?
I mean, the world is important. The world building in that is important, but to me, the world that this is in is sort of set in stone. There's really nothing that they could do to change the world that they live in, but it's more focused on their actions and how they respond to it and when they do respond to it, what consequences they have for that, or if there is even a consequence. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. But it's a lot, very much focused on being together as a team and working together can make you achieve great things with strength and confidence and such. And we see some of them, kind of struggle with that too. Um, just kind of confidence in that. So
Nice. Yeah, well, I like that. I'm a big believer in characters being like the most important part of or not the most important, obviously, but one of the most important parts of any kind of story. So I'm glad that you're taking time to really flesh these characters out.
yeah, and it's good mix of both world building and character building. But I think one of my favorite parts of me as the creator, one of my favorite things to do to develop the most is the characters. So I always talk about them.
Oh, that's funny. Now, I wanted to ask you, what does the future for Star Ring look like?
Well, I'm hoping that we could, get printed. We're really excited to be working with you guys. And
Nice.
I focus on kind of one milestone at a time. This is a passion project for me, so I have no desire to kind of set deadlines for myself. Other than the deadlines I need to make sure I stay productive. But the future for it is just I have a story to tell, and I want people to read that story and love it and relate to it, and just look forward to the chapters and all of that.
Now I have to bring up this piece of art because this is one of my favorite things about Willow, and you get it right from the beginning of episode 0. And that is her kind of silly, playful personality. She's
Yeah.
always doing goofy things with, making funny expressions, poking people. It's just really funny, silly character. And can you describe a little about what went into making her character like that?
Originally, Willow just kind of started off like this, just this really silly character. I didn't really give her much of an in-depth backstory as I originally wanted to. So I went through and I thought, like, who is this girl? Like, what is she gonna be like? And I implement a lot of myself in these guys, these four, the main four. And a side of me is real goofy like that too, just silly faces and that. But I wanted her to have a personality and someone that, when there's a real intense moment, you can count on her to stand there and kind of give a silly face like that and kind of bring attention.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Obsession, like I could say that she has an obsession with poking things,
Nice.
noses, faces, just very touchy
Mm.
feely.
Mhm.
And even after she, fires demons to a crisp, she still has the need to touch them. Like she's doing.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because her character really kind of contrasts nicely with the Nico's character. They're really kind of they're not quite, they don't really have the same personalities.
They're vastly different, and
Yeah.
we'll see that in this chapter. Believe me, it's kind of entertaining to watch.
Right. Yeah.
It is because I could say, Niko is filled with this intensity,
Mhm.
and Willow is her best friend. So she really just kind of tries to get her out of that bad mood that she gets all grouchy sometimes. And there's Willow just trying to be like, oh, come on, stop being so serious all the time.
It's nice. She helps lighten the mood when things get serious.
Yeah,
She's good at that.
yeah,
I enjoyed seeing their powers on display too. It appears Willow uses some sort of fire ability,
yes.
and then Nico uses some sort of swordsmanship. To me, it's unclear yet if she's magical, has any magical abilities.
We get into that in this chapter. They sort of kind of talk back and forth, about their abilities and what that's
Nice.
about in the chapter too. But Willow does use elemental fire magic. So her magic is stored internally. She uses it by emotions. Pretty much all the characters, the way that they use their magical powers is based off emotion. If they're feeling strong emotions, they become more powerful. But they still have like kind of like a level set. Like they can either be a low class wizard to a high class. And Willow, I can say, is a mid class wizard. So she's not as powerful, but she's still pretty powerful there. So.
Is she more powerful than Niko?
Yes, actually, she is.
Nice. So she may seem innocent and friendly, but don't mess with her.
Yeah, she
Oh, that's
actually
funny.
is at this point in the series. Yeah, she is.
Interesting. Oh,
Uh-huh.
that's really cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
these.
one of my favorite. Another thing that she could do is she could lift up boulders.
Oh, is that why her nickname is Pebble?
Well, actually, one of the other characters, which will be introduced in this sneak peek on the webtoon later on this month, gave her that nickname because of her size and the fact that she could pick up boulders.
That's great. Yeah, that's a pretty fitting nickname, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Does she like that nickname, or does it make her irritated?
No, it depends on, I think, like the mood or
Maybe who's saying it and how they're saying it.
she does get sassy. She does get sassy sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's great.
on the setting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I could see that. That's awesome. Your characters have such a great chemistry together, and it's just really fun to see them, going on this adventure. I think together.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm excited for everyone to go on the adventure with them and enjoy the series. It's really fun to create, and I really can't wait for everyone to really read the sneak peek coming up, and then being able to get the book too in physical copy is awesome. So I'm excited for that.
Neostar says, "Fun magical girl and tough sword fighter. Nice."
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the people are already connecting with your characters, and you've already built up a great audience, and people are already super excited, even just with what you put out so far. So the only way is up from here. I think you guys are you got something as a real life character says. He says, "I see a hugely popular anime and gold levels of success in the future."
Oh, thank
I
you.
totally see where he's coming from with that, because you really have something special here. It's honestly one of the coolest English language mangas I've ever gotten to see, which
Oh, thank
to
you so
capture
much.
those aesthetics from the not just visually but also story wise and character wise. I think your whole team has done an incredible job here.
Yeah, they really have, and thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that.
No, you're very welcome. I'm really enjoying hearing all about this, and you talked about a little bit about the mental illness aspect of it, and how there is a little bit of a deeper meaning here.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of messages or anything that you want to convey to your readers through Star Ring?
One thing that that I try to put across is that you're not alone, ever. There's always someone there for you to reach out to that will care about anything that's going wrong in your life, or if you need something to get off your chest, like you should be able to rely on your friends to help you through it and be there. And that is one thing that I learned. Is you'll see it a lot in my characters. A lot of them bottle up their emotions. A lot of them sometimes don't. Sometimes they're too forward. They use anger as a coping mechanism or something like that. So one of the things I think primarily I wanted to get out there mental illness wise is that no matter how you show your emotion, it's good that you're doing it, and the people around you that love you and care will support you and help you through that and help you deal with that pain that you're holding in. And that's one of the things that I struggled with, and writing starring actually helped me have that outlet. So I wanted even my characters in my story to have an outlet too.
Wow, that's really cool. I personally can relate to that. I think a lot of the viewers probably can too. So it's nice to hear that you want to kind of put that message forward and really bring it across in your characters.
Absolutely.
Um, that's a nice thing to hear.
And two of
Uh,
the famous starring quotes, and
mm,
Kevin, real life Kirito can tell you this
mhm.
is towards tomorrow and achieve confidence within strength. And those words mean so much when you really put a meaning behind them, especially achieve confidence within strength, because the only way to get strong is to have confidence within yourself.
Mm,
So,
yeah. Although that's really true.
mhm.
Yeah, you can't get there without trying, and you have to have the confidence to do that. So I think, that all starts with your own choice to do that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Where did you come up with these ideas and these these quotes when you were first writing them?
I just um, kind of just thought of them honestly. So
Really?
I would be, there. I carry it like a small notepad. I used to carry like a small notepad around with me everywhere I went, and then eventually transitioned to the notepad on my iPhone. So I just have like little random. If something comes in my mind and I'm not able to get to my laptop right away, I'll just kind of write up like a rough draft, and then I'll hit it with the editing software, and I'll just kind of make it sound better, or I'll send it to feedback to friends and see what they think about it. And that's kind of where I came up with a lot of the quotes in Starg. It's very quote heavy speech.
Well, I think that's a great part of shonen, and I love that you've implemented that, because something I think that people really connect with shonen isn't just that it's an action show; it's that we get to see characters, strive towards their dreams, and they may stumble, but they ultimately achieve their goals, or they get the courage or the tenacity to do that. And it's not easy. I know it's hard for me and a lot of other people, and it's not easy for anyone. But to be able to be inspired by these kind of messages that you want to bring across, I
Mhm.
think really can uplift people when they're feeling down. So I think this series isn't just going to be fun, but I think it's going to have a lot to offer in terms of emotional content as well.
Yeah. It there is hardships in the story, more hardships than not, unfortunately. But there's always a lesson to be learned with these hardships that we see, and we really get it. And to ask, obviously you know, the four main characters are Ekron, Zane, Niko, and Willow, and all of that. But we really just, even the supporting characters, the side characters, even the stock characters, starring's a manga of a huge cast. So we really just, there's just a character there for everyone, someone to love.
Oh,
So,
that's excellent. Well, we're just about at the end of our time here. Is there anything you want to tell the fans out there? Anything you would like to tell the people who are thinking about backing your book when it comes out in March?
thank you so much for the support, and pretty much just thank you to everyone who supported me, whether it be friends, family, readers, all of you guys. It gives me the will to keep going and to keep doing the series and keep implementing cool ideas and connections.
Well, that's awesome, and like I said earlier, your fan base is really great. I love seeing them come out to the show, and just seeing them interact and stuff is clearly a sign that I think you are great. You're building something great here.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I can't wait to see where you guys go with it next. If there's any other questions in the chat, please drop them now. We'll be wrapping up in the next few minutes, but I did want to ask you a question. This one's just for fun.
Sure.
Um, I obviously do a lot of writing. You're very prolific. Well, what is how, after a long day of like writing or comic creation, how do you like to unwind?
Usually just probably group call my friend Alex or Whitney
Nice.
or one of them, and talk with them, till the wee hours of the morning, or just watch some anime really. But
Nice. Are you a big
I
anime fan then? I take
yeah,
it.
I'm a huge anime fan, and
Nice.
I love everything about it so much. But like I said, like I used to really watch shonen genres
Hmm.
a lot. But I have to thank one of my really good friends, Allie, for introducing me to Attack on Titan, because I love it so much.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite shows. It's so good.
One of the biggest inspirations for me to get so deep into like connecting my story and to have that real deep backstory is Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that's honestly, I mean, it's a great example, especially the way they kind of implemented it. You don't necessarily see it coming. They did it in a very subtle way, I thought.
Yeah,
But when you realize it, you're like, yeah, everything is like was for a reason. It was all connected, and it all makes sense.
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I could totally see where you're coming from with that.
mhm.
Oh, that's cool. Any other shows you're watching these days?
Right now, just trying to finish up Demon Slayer. Every time I try, I get distracted, and I could never seem to do it. But one of my newest favorite series is Given. It's on Crunchyroll, which is it's really
Given. I'm not familiar with that one.
it's about a band. It's really interesting.
Huh. Oh, that does sound interesting.
And
Yeah.
I've been like real into like hockey manga lately.
Hockey manga. I didn't
Reading
know they had such a thing.
one of Nick Nicholas in the chat. I'm pretty sure Nicholas is Nicholas there. He's doing like a hockey manga too, so that's pretty cool. I really can't wait to see that.
Hmm.
I brought Nat from the dark
Yeah, I
side.
was just reading that. That's pretty good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Nice. Well, that's cool. It's awesome. You're into the medium, and you like the stuff that you're creating as well. So, I think I believe you mentioned something about like wanting to create something, out of the medium that you love so much.
Mhm.
Um, and I I can relate to that as well. But one final question here tonight: is there any kind of advice you can give to us, people who are aspiring to create manga?
One of the best advice I could give is, like I've said earlier, outline your work. Create an outline first, base it off of that. One of I think the biggest mistakes that I made, even as a writer, is kind of starting off sporadically, not having like a set organization system. And organization, especially if you want a very in-depth world building, character compelling series, is to take the time out to outline. Honest to God,
Really? Oh
it makes
wow.
it so much easier when you just have kind of a subtle idea of where you want the story to go. And then when you have that subtle idea and you're ready to flesh it out, you're able to do that then. Um,
Hmm.
in a
Wow.
more productive, easier way. At least this is what works for me. I am also under the understanding that, I mean, pretty much find your system too. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody has a different way that they go about doing things. What works for me may not work for someone else. So, like,
Interesting. Yeah.
pretty much the best thing I could be is um, find that tune in yourself, get in tune, and find a system that works for you. And depending on the kind of series you want to build, you could really be successful just with that. Um, in my eyes,
Well, that's awesome. That's really great advice. I think people can take to heart.
satisfied with your work too. Like there's like
Hmm.
a satisfaction when it comes to writing something. It's like when I'm done writing, do I feel satisfied? And it kind of flashes me back to when I was co-writing with Real Life Kirito.
Hmm.
And him and I, we started at 2 p.m. In the afternoon. Well, I started at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. He was just kind of like, you could do this, you could do this. And then it rolled around till about 10 p.m. And I messaged him and
Jeez.
I said, I'm not satisfied with this yet. And I told him,
Whoa.
I said, I need your help with this because this is going to be this is going to be the chapter that is telling the truth of something. So I need this to be perfect, as perfect as I can get it. So then 6 more hours roll by, and 6 a.m.
Oh
and
my God.
he's like, "Are you done yet?" And I'm like, "No," but I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry." I said, "Yes, I'm finally done. I have that satisfying feeling inside of me, and I'm ready for us to, you know, let's edit this. Let's finish this up." And he was like, "This is just so awesome. Like, this is so great. Like, we really did this." And what his implements, my implements, it really ended up being awesome. Um, just a little patience with yourself too is very important because writing takes time, and there are going to be days where you're writing that you're not going to want to do it. And that's okay. Take the day off and don't do it, because that's when you start your ideas kind of get foggy and kind of cloudy, is when you're not in the mood to write. So when you get in that mindset, take advantage of it. Even if you're on your iPhone in the middle of Walmart, just start jotting it down.
That's really interesting. So you kind of don't force yourself to write when you don't feel like it, or you don't feel like you can, and when you do feel like it, you take advantage of it.
I mean, I'm still like real big with still trying to try at least once a day, at least a sentence, just to kind of keep myself in that mode, or post a thing to the Instagram, post a quote about Willow to the Instagram, or just to kind of keep the writing vibe inside of me alive. I have to at least write a sentence a day. But that some people can put it down for a while and pick it back up. I've done it before. But sometimes it takes me a little bit to get back into that mode. I actually, not that long ago, had to recover myself from some writer's block, and then all of a sudden it just hit me like a freight train out of nowhere, and I just started writing again.
Oh, that's funny.
If you're writing and you're having moments like that, it is totally okay, and it's happening to all of us. Believe me.
Oh, that's awesome. Real for the record, real life Kirito says I had nothing to do, and it was fun. Oh, I'm sure you're just being modest. Oh, that's funny.
He actually he came up with probably the third best starring quote, and the third best starring quote was, we were actually planning a power and an attack on something, and he said, because the wizard that was doing it uses gun magic, and he said, "There's holes where the eyes should be."
Oh,
wow. There's a quote from later.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I definitely can't wait to see that one plays out.
Yeah,
that'll be quite exciting.
I can't wait for that. I think I actually wrote it down somewhere too, so that was
it must have struck a chord with you.
Yeah.
Now, one more question here, just snuck in at the end. Do you have any plans for other mangas besides starring?
There was actually a project I was going to be working on with a friend of mine, and we were going to co-write. It was going to be called like The Silence of Euro. And I still have the plot, and I'm still going to do it. But right now, my primary focus is starring and doing that. But eventually, I do want to kind of write spin-offs for starring as well. Something I would really love to do, especially in the world, because I could pretty much take one of my million outlines and create a plot just based off the past as well. So right now it's just primarily all just starring based and all of that. So
well, that's cool. It sounds like you might have some new stuff down the line, but for now it's just we're going to focus on starring and really get that out, and keep working on that. Yeah,
because we have this whole arc yet that is just waiting to be read, so we're excited.
And I know we're getting close. We're really wrapping up here, but I want to share another piece of art real quick, just because I think it demonstrates something really interesting about Aries art, which is the landscapes are gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's like it's something I like. As soon as I saw this panel from the first page, I was blown away. I was like, oh my god, whoa. And it's like it's like it uses such really great manga aesthetics in a lot of great ways, from the great use of white space to the textures, just to the everything is just, it feels so authentic and great. I don't know, just
it has that shine, the manga shine.
Yeah, we keep going back to it. It really does, and so it's exciting to see. I'm a huge landscape guy. I'm a sucker for landscape. So,
Me too.
right, but that's awesome. I'm super excited about this, and I can't wait for us to get the first issue out to people, print wise, or get the first get it out to people's hands. And can you tell people about how long it's going to be, the first issue, the first episode?
I'm hoping to probably print, if you mean print wise.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Print it as soon as I can. Really, I'm
Nice.
as soon as whenever, as soon as we're done wrapping it up and getting them finalized pages. We're gonna add something a little extra into the physical copy. That I think people will like, kind of like them 1.5 chapters that
Nice.
mangas do. So
Huh.
that's something I want to do, like a 1.5 chapter.
Well, that's cool. That gives some of the people who maybe already checked it out some more incentive to come back and revisit that first episode.
Exactly, yeah, for sure.
Well, that's awesome. And for my part, I can say that we'll probably try and shoot for around a January or February release. Just before that Indiegogo starts, so get
Yeah,
people really hyped up for it.
yeah, I'm real excited. Next year is gonna be it's gonna enter busy, but it's gonna be worth it. We're gonna be doing some awesome stuff. So I'm
That's
excited.
great.
I'm really excited to be working with you guys, and it's been a great experience in the short amount of time. So I can imagine how great it's going to be getting. So I'm excited.
Oh yeah, once you get that physical book in your hands, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like the first time you got that first page back again.
I
It,
know.
it honestly, it is just like that.
Can't wait.
So yeah, I'm excited to check it out too. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Is there anywhere people can follow you online so they can check out some more of your adventures and your projects?
You can follow me, me and Ari. You can follow her at Erie Bloodberry. That's twitter.com/Erie Bloodberry, and then Narkeen, twitter.com/NARIKEEN. Which would be, he's our artist for our title and logos. So
Can I get that one more time? Sorry.
oh sure, it's twitter.com/NARIKEEN.
Yeah.
Like I said, he kind of created the starring symbol. He revamped the starring symbol.
Nice. Oh yeah, should we bring up the star ring symbol?
Yeah, sure.
I was actually just looking at that. It's a really interesting design, and I was actually curious what the thought process was behind the design.
Sure.
Let's see here. So it's got a very bright blue color to it.
Yeah. There's a reason for that. I don't really want to spill
Mm-hmm.
just yet. But
Too early, yeah.
I actually got the idea of the word star ring, the two words together, from one of my favorite songs. It's actually a song called from Aimer, which is a really big anime artist for openings and endings in anime. And I remember saying to my husband, I said, that would make just such a cool guild name. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it would make such a cool guild name. And then it just manifested into like, it did turn into a guild, and now it's like their branding symbol. So there's that. But it started off a little differently. That's Nari's revamp logo.
Mm-hmm.
He redid that, and he actually did the word star ring and the kanji on the front cover as well.
Oh wow, really? Oh yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah, he did. They're awesome, and it really didn't take much time. He sent me a few concepts over, and then we just kind of combined two concepts together, and we came up with that. So I thought it was pretty cool. I really loved the new version, and we still use the old one as well too.
Oh really? Okay.
Sometimes, yeah,
Nice.
just kind of for like nostalgia reasons.
Mm-hmm. No, I could totally get that. Oh, that's awesome.
uh,
And where can people follow you in particular if they want to check out what you got going on?
just twitter.com/Jupiter Ripple. If you really want to just kind of follow like starring stuff, we're very active on Instagram, star.ring.series. And we are on Twitter, and that's star_ring_manga, where you can catch, all where we do a join the Federation hashtag.
I
Where
love that, by the way.
oh, thank you. Me and her were back and forth. Was it going to be like join the guild, join the Federation? We want to kind of stick with the word Federation, because it kind of fits the world and the scenes, the scenes just a little bit better in terms of all of that. So
Right, yeah, and it just I don't know, it kind of feels like the old like the we want you for the U.S. military. It's like join the Federation. It's got this very official kind of like recruiting feel to it almost.
And another fun fact is there is like a recruiting process for when they join, and they're in the manga series. A lot of people could look forward to. There's not just the Federation starring. There's a couple of other federations too.
Really?
That we get to know and all of that too. So
Oh wow. Yeah, there's a really lot to look forward to in the story.
yeah.
And one more time, if you would like to check out the what's out right now for the first episode, it's up on Webtoons and on Manga Rock. Here's the Webtoons link, and it'll also get you the Manga Rock link as well. But yeah, I'm super excited about this, and I really appreciate you coming on to talk to us and kind of give us a little more insight to your creation process and to the series itself.
Yeah.
I think it was fascinating. Honestly, it was really cool to hear.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Whitney Rock says, "So proud of you, Natty. I'm so happy to see your hard work paying off."
Thank you, Whitney.
That's awesome. You clearly have a lot of great support, and I think people are really responding here. So it's all really exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I couldn't have done it without all of the support I've gotten from my husband and my family and all that and my great friends. And I've met, like I said, it's just been so awesome to be able to that the project has led me to be able to work with just a lot of talented people and that I've met. And I'm real happy about that. And always on Wikid and even just from my process getting to there, it's been really fun.
Well, that's really cool, and it's only going to get better from here. And you got so much to look forward to. But thanks again. I really appreciate you jumping on, and thank you to everyone in the chat who joined us tonight and asked great questions. You had a lot of great questions from the chat tonight. That was really awesome to see.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, that was really cool, and thank you again. Hopefully we'll talk soon, maybe on the next Wicca podcast. I'm sure we'll be talking in between then as well. But great to have you on the team. If again, just welcome to Wicked, and just really excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. We're gonna do awesome stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Awesome, guys. Well, we will see you guys next time. Everyone have a great night. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.